Weathering is an essential geologic process to life. As rock weathers, it mixes with decaying organic matter, water, and air to form soil, which is where the majority of essential nutrients initially enter the biosphere. Soil, though, like rock or air, is a mixture, so it is different from place to place. It can be made of different sized rock fragments, chemically composed of different minerals, or of different amounts of organic matter, air, and water. The type of rock and minerals in soil depend on the rock from which the soil weathered, called the parent rock. The more well-weathered the particles, the smaller they tend to be. Large particles are called sand, medium-sized particles called silt, and small particles are called clay. For comparison, sand can be more than a millimeter in diameter, while clay can be as small as 1/500th of a millimeter. The term soil texture refers to the kinds of rock particles from which soil is composed, whereas the term soil structure refers to their arrangement. Most of the time, soil is made through the weathering of the rock layer beneath the soil, called bedrock. Weathering is usually fastest at the surface of the soil, though, which is why the deeper you dig, the larger the rocks tend to become. Weathered rock isn't the only important ingredient in soil, though. Many of the nutrients that make soil fertile that living things need are only there because it was returned to the soil after one living thing died and decomposed. This organic material, called humus, can be from decaying leaves, a rotting log, or a deceased animal, but regardless of its origin, it is a vital part of soil health and the continuance of life. When humans fertilize soil, they're adding more of these nutrients. If done properly, this can be beneficial, but it can also disrupt the natural nutrient levels of ecosystems and cause negative results if not done responsibly. Since rock is dispersed variably through the soil, since weathering occurs at variable rates, and since most organic matter is deposited above ground, soil is usually layered. The layers in soil are called horizons. The top layer is the organic layer, comprised primarily of organic matter. The A layer is called topsoil and has the healthiest mix of weathered rock, water, and organic material. The B layer, subsoil, is below that with a mix of soil, weathered rock, and only a sparse amount of nutrients that leach down from the high layers. Below that is the C layer, which is primarily weathered rock, and then the R layer, which is bedrock. Not all soils have the same layers. Some skip layers or have thicker or thinner layers, but this does give a basic picture of how soil horizons are arranged. The healthiest soils of the world tend to have very clear horizons. How healthy soil is depends on the amount of water and organic material available, the temperature, and the pH of the soil, which tells how acidic or basic the soil is. Too much water means that leaching occurs at an increased rate. Leaching is the pull of nutrients down from one horizon to the next by water as it infiltrates the soil. Most plants grow near the surface, so increased leaching pulls needed nutrients out of their reach. Too little water, contrarily, means no chemical weathering of the bedrock and no water available for living things. Too many living things in and on soil means that competition for resources increases, while too few means that there is not enough organic material to decompose and resupply the soil. Further, if temperatures are extremely cold, decomposition and weathering rates decline, slowing the introduction of organic material that is available to the soil. Plants need those nutrients to grow and start the transfer of energy up the food web, but they also need soil at a healthy pH. If soil is too basic or too acidic, plants cannot grow. This is why people put lime down on their lawns. It decreases the acidity of soil. The healthiest soils on Earth are in the temperate zones because they balance all of these effects. The upper left is an image of a temperate forest, and the bottom right is an image of a temperate grassland, two of the biomes with the healthiest soils on the planet. Why is soil so important in the first place, though? First off, it provides nutrients and holds water for plants, which are the basis of all the nutrient cycles within the biosphere. And second, it provides a home for many animals. For a more specific example, Feeding the human population requires that we protect our soils. When it is overused, it can lose its nutrients and become infertile. And when it isn't protected by plant roots, it can be washed away by wind, water, or gravity. Together, these events can destroy the farmlands and crops upon which the human population depends. Look back over the farmlands of the Great Plains during the Great Depression of the 1930s, called the Dust Bowl, for an historic example. How can events like the Dust Bowl drought be avoided? Soil can be protected by conscientiously rotating crops to always keep fields active and restore nutrients, and by arranging and tending crops in ways to limit erosion. Limiting plowing, planting border crops, and contour plowing are all such techniques.